How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary tasks? Following the creation of a music video, in creating my digipack and magazine ad, I paid close attention to the following things: the chosen font, the general style, whether it was clean cut or more messy and busy, the colour palette, the use of still images from the video, information, and the general message. In this case, the focus was very much youth. As you can see, the information circled in red highlights the quite obvious correlations between the two products, and I'll go on to talk in more detail about how they link directly to my music video. Following the creation of my music video, when I went about creating my digipack and my magazine ad, I wanted there to be a really clear correlation between all of them. As I've said, I sort of set out criteria to make sure I achieved this. I decided that Teenage Fantasy wasn't actually going to be the album title itself, but fit within this idea of Wrapped Up, which I decided was the album title. I wanted this idea of youth to be an overarching theme, which would then communicate into the styles I chose. So, font, quite a clear correlation between them. I chose the same font for both my digipack and my magazine advert. It's this kind of classic style, but I'd gone with the idea of the classic traditional ideas of soul music with more contemporary R&B, and I think this is a nice way of balancing the two. I placed them in white backgrounds to make them stand out and sort of be separate from the images rather than all blended together. It was a way of having them quite clean cut, which I wanted, and this was in both my digipack and my magazine ad, the track list being inside a white box and then the information provided on my magazine ad the same. The general style, as I said, was all quite clean cut, this idea of division throughout and a separation between the two narratives that had been explored in my music video. I had images of me and Sam cut into little rectangles cut between images of Julia. I applied this filter called like old school film effect, and I wanted this idea of fantasy versus a very clean, crisp, harsh reality. I replicated this on the back of my album, where I overlaid the two images to have this idea of division again. Colour palette, it was slightly more neutral than my music video actually. I chose screenshots that more dulled down and I thought would match the sort of blending of the images, because I think if I'd blended ones with bright red colours then they wouldn't have blended as nicely and it would be too harsh against the white background. I think by doing this it made other things stand out, like the information I wanted to communicate. So the single Teenage Fantasy, which I referenced on my magazine advert, was written in bright red and in a font that was similar to that of the opening credits of my music video. So the use of still images, as I said, I used lots of still images from my music video to have a direct reference. I used the portrait shots, and then on the inside covers of my album, one image wasn't actually taken from the music video, but it was something we'd taken a picture of whilst we were on shoot, and I think I wanted not necessarily to be characters, but the urban environment and surroundings to sort of have this idea of the characters being part of a much bigger environment and sort of obscuring them, and then in turn sort of appealing to that youth audience again. So the information provided was quite continuous throughout the magazine ad and the digipack. I chose Mercury Records as Maverick Sabre is also signed to that, and I think they have quite a lot of similarities in their appeal and their style. That was referenced on both of my products. And then the made up website address, alexandraking.co.uk, which I decided upon when we decided on the artist name, because I'd found that a lot of artists just use their own name rather than sort of creating a whole new persona. Also the copyright information, sort of formalities like that, that was on the digipack with Mercury Records referenced inside of it. And then the album title itself, which I'd made sure was in bold capitals for both, because rather than just be a style choice, I decided that was how the album title would be formatted. And then the overall message, as I'd said, was very much focused on youth and division, and that would speak to my target audience. The quite hectic style of our music video and the handheld camera work with the poignant message of the portrait shots is something I wanted to directly reference in my album cover and my magazine ad, so I literally used those within it, but edited them slightly, so it's not just a like carbon copy, but sort of reimagining them.